back to reporting.
Okay, we're going to call this meeting of the Bartlett Finance Committee to order at noon. And Sharon, you'll make a note of who's online and who's in the room. Brent did text us and say he's unable to come for this meeting, so it's just Shelley and I from the committee here. Shelley, approval of the agenda?
I approve the agenda.
Okay.
I can second the motion.
Yeah. Anybody, any public participation? Okay. Approval of minutes. We have the September 18th minutes in front of us.
Yeah, I reviewed those and they seem correct. So I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second again.
Okay. And with that, we'll turn over to our ever able CFO, Angela.
Thank you, Max. That was quite the introduction. I will do my best to live up to it.
Good.
Our major financial focus remains Wildflower Court right now. Wildflower Court is short about $360,000 per month. The daily rate dropped from around $860 per day for about 82% of our residents to $500. We have submitted the exceptional relief request and amended cost reports for both the hospital and Wildflower Court. And we believe that we will be able to get that rate back up. Right now, there's negotiation to get that back up to about $760 per day. The amendment to the cost report.
Can I ask a question
Yes,
about that? Where does that get us to, or maybe you're gonna.
Yeah, let's forget through everything.
Yeah. Amending the cost reports did cost the hospital $430,000. The flip side of that is we expect $2.3 million of lift on the other side to Wildflower Court. So we felt that was a good reason to go ahead and move forward with that. With that change, what it did was allocate cost from hospital overhead to Wildflower Court, because that's part of what we're doing in a rebase year. And we needed to go ahead and accelerate a portion of that for this exceptional relief request. So with all of that said and done, that would get us to about break even at Wildflower Court. Otherwise, we would have had a several $1 million shortfall. Is that answer?
That answers my question. I just jumped the gun.
Is that on all on Wildflower Court?
That's all on Wildflower Court.
I'll tell you what, why don't you go all the way through and come back?
Oh, absolutely.
Just keep on through.
Okay. Revenue exceeds prior August revenues. And our bottom line is a net gain of $465,000, which brings us to $733,000 for the fiscal year to date. That is about 11% of the $6.6 million budget. So last financial committee, we did talk about the budget pacing seemed a little bit, has quite a bit of flux to it. So I want us to look at it in total of we are achieving and on target to the budget. And let's not look at just the budgeted dollars on the year to date versus the achievement, because that shows a significant variance that is not realistic of the performance. Because right now, the budgeted dollars show we should have achieved 4.3 million, which is 65% of the $6.5 million or $6.6 million budget. That's not realistic in 2 months. So we've achieved 11% of our budgeted goal so far. While the inpatient activity came in below budget, outpatient and physician services continued to perform exceptionally well. Those two areas are continuing to grow and maintain consistent organizational margins. And this is exactly what the diversification strategy was meant to do, and it is performing. So it's building stability across the system. So if one area naturally softens as we go through our seasonality and other shifts, the others are lifting the total performance. Our outpatient volumes remain strong, and with growth across imaging therapy and the emergency department. Orthopedics continues to exceed both budget and prior year, providing a strong margin that offsets the increased costs that are tied to physician and to coverage. From a balance sheet perspective, cash decreased 2.2 million. However, this was due to the timing of payroll. So there were 3 payrolls in August. And that was the primary driver. Accounts receivable remains steady and liquidity remains strong with collections remaining strong. So at the same time, we're continuing to align our accounting practices to improve transparency and clarity. The work underway includes things like cost center realignment and then reviewing cost allocation realignment. And this will provide us with increased accuracy and visibility and usability of the reporting in the future. So the overall picture is Bartlett remains financially stable, balanced, and strategically responsive. The outpatient and physician performance are carrying results, and we're improving the quality and transparency of our accounting data and taking proactive steps to secure sustainable funding for Wildfire Court. Looking ahead, we're finalizing the fiscal year 25 audit and cost report work. We're expecting to close those in the upcoming weeks. And the early September indicators show continued outpatient strength and stable expense management, keeping us on track for the full year budget goals.
Great. Shelley, any questions?
Mm-mm.
I'd like to just kind of go back and revisit a few of the things. Let's start with Wildfire Court. So the rate we are at 500 now. You're negotiating for 760 a day. And will that, when we get that adjustment, whatever that rate is, will that be retroactively applied to the beginning of the year?
That has been the case. That's what we expect.
Okay. So it's not, we don't know it for sure until they give it to us, but that's a reasonable expectation of that. So we'll catch up some of that. The 760 is about $100 a day less than we were getting from Medicaid last year. Is that right? We were getting 860?
Yes.
Approximately. And so at 1,600 days a month at 80%, which is Medicaid, right? So we're somewhere around $1,250 or $1,300 per days. They're getting paid $100 less than we got last year.
Yes.
Is that right? So that's about 130,000 or so, you know, very
Right.
rough, but I mean, in that ballpark, right? So in the ballpark of, you know, call it $1.8 million to $2 million a year that we're, and so that the difference in that rate, it's kind of gone poof, was our exceptional relief rate high, or is the 760 leaving something on the table that we just don't feel like we're going to get from the state? Are you clear on my question?
I am.
What's driving that difference?
And so originally we had asked them for a higher rate than the 860. We'd asked them in the 900s, and they came back and said that that was basically a non-starter. And the intent of the exceptional relief was to subsidize Wildfire, but not cover everything, right? They're not going to make it profitable for us. And that this is the last year they'll consider exceptional relief. So they're certainly becoming more stringent with the parameters around what they're approving and the level at which they're approving. So in order to even consider the 760, we had to redo the cost reports and shift $1.2 million from hospital overhead over to Wildfire Court, which is a reasonable assumption. I even had DCA go back and look at that assumption and support it in detail for that cost overhead allocation. But that is what's driving us up to the 760, which will get us at or near break even, but will not provide any kind of a profit from operating margin.
But it will cover the 1.2 million of overhead that you shifted to it.
Yes, it will.
which last year we didn't do any of that, right?
We did not. And it'll be similar to what we do for the rebasing, it's that 1.2 million will be consistent with what we do for the rebase.
So the other question I had on the exceptional relief term, I mean, if we're essentially at cost-based reimbursement for wildlife, there's no exceptional relief in there, right? I mean, it's just it's our net cost reimbursement based on the cost for it, isn't it?
Yes. Once we go through a rebase year, it will be, the problem is that the current rate is based off of historical information when that cost wasn't accurate or wasn't where it needed to be, when it reported accurately. So it's every 3 years for the rebase, and we're going into rebase year. That's why we've had previous exceptional relief. We're asking for 1 more year to bridge the gap.
I'm with you. So we're in a rebase year right now.
Yes, based on the FY25 cost report, then we will go into a rebase year using that information.
Okay, gotcha.
Can I ask a question? The $500 was that based on the original cost report that we submitted in 24, or did they just drop it? Was that an arbitrary reduction?
It was their calculation. And they looked at the pure financials without the overhead applied, and they felt that because there was operating profit margin on there, that we were making a big profit, which is not reality. So we had to go back and update cost reports and then prove to them that no, there's a lot more that goes into this than what is reflected on just a service line financial to support the 760. And that's why they had calculated it down to 500, which is what we're living with at the moment.
Okay. Thank you for that. So timing on the new rate by the state, what's the expectation?
We have submitted everything for their request. They're under review. I would expect to hear something in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We'll continue to follow up until we have an answer.
Okay. Okay, so move on to the hospital now. So let's talk about the impact of the loss of the rural administration to us. So starting July 1, we're also no longer in cost-based reimbursement for inpatient services. Is that correct? And we're DRG reimbursed now?
We are, we do not have the rural health demonstration, which is 4.2 million a year,
Yeah.
350,000 a month. And I would defer to Joe on this because I don't have all the details of timings of shift and everything.
Yeah.
I'm still getting up to speed. I apologize.
That's all right. So Joe, so we dropped out the rural demonstration because of lack of reauthorization by Congress on July 1, right?
Yeah, and the way it works, Max, is that is a biweekly payment we get from Medicare, and we just apply those against the contractual. So when the program kind of came to its conclusion, we just stopped receiving them and stopped posting them. So it kind of just took care of itself.
Yeah, I got you. So then where does that stand? I mean, where are we right now with this?
Well, they're trying to get the CR in place right now. I've been in conversations with Cassidy and with Sarah Bell. They feel that a year end, when they do the year end bill, the senator from Wyoming is going to try to push that through because they have some more hospitals. They have more hospitals than Alaska does, and they felt Alaska got so much of the one big beautiful bill that for us to ask would probably not help our case.
Well, I mean, and there's rural demonstration facilities all over the country, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just Alaska and Wyoming. So,
And they have a confidence that it's going to get extended too. Because I mean, there's going to be more hospitals falling off all the time at this point.
yeah, so the current authorization is through like 27 or 28. It's just that our participation timed out, right?
Yeah. So we were on one of the earlier cohorts, and it's every 5 years. So they needed 5 years left of funding to get us into another go at it. Since there was only 3 years left, that's why there wasn't enough time to push us in.
Yeah. Okay, so we're waiting for yet another act of Congress to do something. Yeah,
Yeah, and this
No,
one,
not
as
like-
they've done in the past, I think will be the third or fourth time we've gone through this process, and they've retroed it every time before. So our assumption is if they do extend it, we'll get the money back to the first of the year.
yeah, okay. Well, in the meantime, we shouldn't hold our breath, right?
No, and we're still trying to do everything we can. I mean, we still have a bottom line going without demonstration, without the welfare court. I mean, so we always monitor operations and our bottom line.
Yeah, I'm with you, but on the other hand, it's summertime, you know? And so
Agreed.
we're positive now, but December, January, February, could look a lot different. So I guess the only thing I just want to put on the record is that we still have critical access as an option that we could pursue if we need to pursue that. And if we don't get rural demonstration back, and certainly the Souls Act, which is, I just think it's dead, frankly. But we have to evaluate whether it makes sense for us to go back to the state, right? And see that. What's your thought on that, Joe?
I agree. I mean, what if we can't get the demonstration extended in the December timeframe? I think we need to reevaluate that and bring it back to the board for consideration. We do have to just take a fresh look at it. I believe our census has changed over the last 9-12 months. We've had a lot more days in the last 9 months that we've exceeded that 25 bed cap compared to the previous 2 years. So we are a busier hospital than we were when we first looked at this.
Yeah. And what does that do to?
Most of them are locals. When we're looking at the census, when we're passing, a lot of it's just, it's our own population at this point. So, I mean, I'd attribute it to just the aging population we have in Juneau. I mean, it's not driven by surgeries. It's not driven by tourism. I think it's just, we have an aging population. Yeah, that's the only thing I can come up with when I looked at the numbers.
It would still require an analysis of those days that we were over to see if, what are the options for classifying some of those as observation days and some other things, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we'd have to go back and just do that detail. How many were we holding on each of those given days? That's the other part of this equation. Because, I mean, on some of these days, we were holding 4 or 5 patients for long-term care, for SNF placement, for mental health needs. So some of our beds are getting used for other than acute care purposes.
Yeah. So okay. So if you come back for a discussion with the board about critical access again, you will first do that analysis of the days and where we.
Absolutely.
So that won't take that long then, or what? I mean, you can do that pretty quickly.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a tedious task. We have to look back at each of the days where we exceeded. Look at the thing is, we have some better tools in place. Jeanette's team in case management does a good job of tracking all these patients. So we have some tools to pull some of this data.
Okay.
It won't be easy, but it's doable.
Shelley, any questions? Good. So that'll be something we'll talk about when December rolls around then, I guess, right? Or January.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be January.
Okay. I had one other question. I just want to touch on the variance in actually more than one. Sorry, couple. Let's talk about the increase in physician revenue. You touched on that a little bit, but I want to just circle back to line 8 and help us understand, kind of what's driving that increase, and then also kind of closely tied to that, where the facility fee. I don't know if you had a chance to look into that, where the facility fee is getting recorded yet.
The physician fees are the only thing reported under physician revenue.
Okay.
And anything done at the hospital would be part of the hospital services revenue.
Okay, so that's either it'd be outpatient or inpatient.
Correct.
Okay. And so that the increase in physician revenue is,
It is almost an equal split of growth between orthopedics and general surgery.
great. That's great. And each one of those procedures has a pretty nice facility fee attached to it as well, right?
Well, we don't split out facility fees that way.
So you
I
don't,
think what he's asking is the surgical side on the hospital, yes. It would depending on the different types of surgeries, but yes, usually there's a good outpatient or inpatient revenue attached to each of those.
yeah, related to the facility fee, right?
Yeah, the hospital fee, yeah.
Okay, that's great. And then oh yeah, materials and supplies, the increase there.
Materials and supplies, that was due to pharmacy.
Just increase from,
Increased pharmacy was
Pharmacy.
165,000 of it.
wow. Yeah. Okay. Is that inflation or is that like, we're doing more like some of those really expensive drugs, you know? Infusion therapies, that kind of stuff, or?
Primarily tied to infusion. It's the more expensive medication.
Yeah, good, okay, great. Now we had one more question and I want to, it's on page, Sharon, if you go to page 9. So our current ratio is good. It's improved generally. But why is days cash on hand down? I was confused by that. Starting in April, why is that coming down? You know?
Well, I know it dropped significantly simply because cash was down 2.2 because of the payroll liability timing.
Oh, okay. Because of the 3 payrolls.
Right. I would have to go back and look at July's to see what that significant delta was. I
Yeah.
don't remember offhand.
And I think off the top of my head, Max, I think it's a year-to-date calculation on costs. When you reset in July, your cost per day takes a jump because, you know, you've inflated these slowly throughout the year, and then all of a sudden the per day cost jumps up in July because it's based on a 1 month average daily cost. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
No.
You said no?
Yeah, I said no.
Okay, so the
Because you're also
equation
doing
is,
your numerators by 30 days too, right? I mean, it's all. So you're isn't that an annualized? Isn't not an annualized?
yeah, it's annualized, but in July you only have 1 month. It's a fiscal year.
Yeah.
And if your
So,
costs
I
go up
mean-
because of the seasonality.
Yeah. And so as you look at the costs we have in July versus the average cost per
Oh, I
day.
see what you're. Gotcha. Okay, thank you. All right, that does make sense actually. I follow you now. Okay. So I'd like to just get an update on, and I'm on page 14 now. On mental health. Again, we saw this kind of deterioration in mental health days. It looks like it's stabilized in August, but how are we going to look in September, October? How's the staffing up there? How's our inpatient load? That kind of thing.
And I'll defer to Kim. She has the best information on the staffing.
Is Kim with us? Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Hey,
pardon
Kim.
me. Hi, how are you? So staffing is better on med-surg. It seems to
you.
wax and wane. So can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, sorry, it sounds like it's going in and out on this side. So staffing is okay. It seems to wax and wane. We were able to open up to full, like to open up all beds. There are not getting a lot of referrals in. They are reviewing packets. Not unusual that we see a dip this time of year in referrals just because it's summer. People feel better in the summer. And, you know, less people, you know, are having behavioral health issues. So we're kind of status quo. There are some staffing challenges that we've come up unexpectedly that we've had to deal with, and HR and I are working through those to try to make sure that we have coverage. But currently, right now, we do have the staffing to open up completely. There hasn't been the patient volume.
Okay. Great. Any other questions from Shelley or Debs? Yeah. Deb, or I'm sorry, Shelley?
None from me.
So your controller starts at the end of the month?
Yes, 10/27, I'm counting down days.
She's saying that with a smile for the record. So,
Payroll manager starts on Tuesday. I'll say that with a smile too.
yeah, that's great. Yeah, you did hire a new payroll manager too. So local person as well, right?
Yes, she is local.
It's great. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Good.
I'm very excited for us.
Yeah.
And is the controller coming from where?
I don't know, rural Teton Valley.
That's
Does he have a place to live?
He does. He found a long-term rental.
Oh, good. Great. It's good to hear. And it's not under a bridge or anything, right?
I didn't ask. I'll bring a lamp.
Okay. All
or
right.
on Hill Street?
Yeah, that's great. And the audit, how's the audit going?
We are down to the last 7 items.
Yeah.
And chewing through that. So then we will have the follow-up on any items that may need to be adjusted. They've been very workable, easy to work with, and very excited to see how this turns out, and then how we move forward into next year. I think next year has a lot of promise.
Yeah, good. And so we'll get an exit conference from them when they get to the draft stage or final stage. And when are we expecting that? Do we have a kind of target date there?
They have to, I think the city has to publish on 11/15 or 11/14, somewhere around there. So they'll have to have it to them by the end of this month. I would imagine somewhere in that time frame we should have a report.
Okay. And they got everything they needed for the interfund as far as you know?
As far as I know, we're working through the last bit of that. They have had some issues with the city cash and sweep accounts versus our accounts, and that's been a lot to work through. We're tying up those last details.
Yeah.
But DZA has been facilitating some of that as well, and the city's been very workable on helping us through some of it.
Good. And you like the team? I mean, they've been good to work with
Very much so.
and confident. I think that's great. to hear.
All of them, even the associates.
Yeah, good. Very good. Okay, Shelley, any comments or questions?
No, and things seem to be going well. I appreciate all the hard work.
Yes, there's a lot of hard work on. Yeah,
I'm good.
I don't have anything further either. So our next meeting is going to be when? Get to talk about dates. And we'll need to loop back with Brett on that. Let's see, it would be, look out.
At the moment, it's scheduled for November 14th.
14.
You'll be back.
Yeah, I'll be back. But, and then the board meeting wouldn't be until the 25th though, right?
It's,
It got moved up.
rescheduled to the 18th.
Oh, okay. So the 14th works. Does that work for you, Shelley?
It does. I'll be back in town on the 14th, so it's perfect.
Okay, I might be on Zoom if I'm in Santa Fe, but I think I'll be here, so. Okay, so that is. Okay, so. Anything else?
Yes.
We are adjourned. Woo, look at that, 30 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you, Joe. Have fun down there.
Thanks, Max.
See you guys.
See you, Shelley.